Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and today we're kind of going to have a little bit of a weird video. So, the other day, I was just kind of doing a scroll through Ravelry, and I found two patterns I wanted to work on, and I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of bring you along with me. And I organically kind of filmed grabbing these yarns and going through my stash and stuff and kind of the process of what happened Saturday night. So I am going to go ahead and put in my little vlog cuts for you here, and then we can come back and kind of refine the conversation maybe and kind of have a direction we're going in, instead of me just like grabbing my phone and being like, hey, we're going to record this as we go and see what happens. So anyway, Saturday night. Okay, guys. So one of the things I want to try to do this year is take you guys along with me in the process of trying to work through a huge portion of my stash. So this is kind of like brainstorming check-in part one, I guess. One of the things I've been doing is patterns that I'm super interested in potentially starting, I'm trying to print out. So I just stapled a couple of them together. I stuck them in this notebook. The first one I'm going to search for yarns for is shifts. Now, normally I do work both ways, where I will be like, oh, I have this yarn, I want to make something with it. Let me find a pattern. That's kind of what I've been doing with like the bulky weight yarn. That's how I found the cloak pattern that I'm using with the Peyton's Misty downstairs. If I think about it, I'll stick a picture here on screen. The other way I work is I'll be like, I have an idea, like I want to make a project using as much fingering weight as I can, and maybe held double, maybe not. Just I'm looking for something that will be kind of a yarn eater. So I have a bunch of things like this stack here that have been partially used in other projects, but only like 20 to 30% of the hank is used. So they're almost full hanks, but I want them to be in projects where they're, showstoppers within those projects still. So I keep those with my full skeins instead of my partials or my minis that I've broken down over the years. But anyway, this time what I did is I went into Ravelry. I searched for fingering weight yarn, 4, 5, and 6+ colors, and knitting or crochet, fingering weight, and the largest two quantities of yarn called for in the pattern. So that's how I found this pattern, which actually will be perfect. So this is 2 fingering weights held double, but her method is very similar to what I've done with other things, where you just she's using a set of 4 that she already has and breaking those into randomized balls and then randomly pairing the yarns. So, instead of saying I'm working with A, B, C, D, and I'm going to do A, B, B, C, C, D to go through a fade with the colors, she just breaks everything down, and once one runs out, she grabs a different ball. So it's completely randomized, but it stays within those 4 colors. So I really like that idea. I like the concept of that. I don't want to do something like mega high contrast, like putting these 4 together, which are, fantastic. But something maybe a little less contrasty. Well, that dark purple with the orange is still too far from what I'm looking for. But I do think I want to stick to the pink purple palette. Or I might want to go crazy because I know I have a number of these bright blues. So maybe something more blue and pink. Because I've got like my beach bum yarns up here. And I've got, I don't know if you can see that one there. So I've got a couple, you know, in that type of a color there that might work. So I am going to come through here. The other pattern I want to pick a yarn for is this Pink Panther scarf. See? Shawls, scarves, sweaters, and blankets. I want to pick a yarn for this Pink Panther scarf. This is another 2 fingerings held double. Hello, Pie. And this one, I think it was actually, I don't want to show off the pattern there. Yeah, this one's a Surrey Alpaca with a fingering weight. So I kind of want to pick a yarn for that. I do have, I'm not going to use my floofs. I do have a couple of different yarns though, you know, like this where I can do half and half and then carry, you know, a similar color. So this is a bicolor scarf. You can't tell in the picture, obviously, but it's half one color, half the other. And so I could take like a set like this, put these two together, and then have a common yarn that goes across the whole project. But I'm not sure what color I want to do that in. So I want to pull yarn for both of these right now. And then I will come back and we can talk about what I chose and why. All right, so I'm not going to lie. This took me a little bit longer than I thought it would. So I was wrong about the Pink Panther scarf. This isn't bicolored. This is just holding 2 together. So I found these in my stash. The ball is the Unique Sheep Verve, You and Me. And I did take it downstairs and measure it. It's still a whole ball. So I got this as a kit at some point. I'm not sure if I bought this kit or if... I'm not sure if I bought this as a kit or if this is one of the things I found at a estate sale many years ago. So this has been in my stash since either 2009, I think was the date on this. And that just doesn't seem right because I don't think I was at the point of getting yarn like this in 2009 unless this came in a subscription. Yeah, so this pattern is from 2009 and it looks like one of the kits that was part of an Eat Sleep Knit series that I did. I did their Malbrigo of the Month Club and I did the Kingdoms Club. And this does say it's based on a bacteria. So theoretically, I could have had this since 2009. But regardless, I'm not going to make a necklace and bracelet. I would never wear that. So this is the yarn. And I'm pairing it with this JoJo Land Harmony. And this is a lace weight. So I'm actually still going to have more of this left over. I might hold this double, because that would give me 440 yards of this if I hold this double. And that would give me almost a fingering weight. And then along with this. But I'll play with that. But this is what I'm going to do for the Pink Panther shawl scarf situation. Now, for the shifts. Ironically, I did pull one of those cakes off the wall. So this is what I've pulled together for that. I'm anticipating only using about half of this one. So 2 of these are from Southern Skeins, this one and this one. I did not do that on purpose. I literally pulled this skein first and was like, oh, I really want that to be in there. And I like the fact that it had coral and this kind of charcoaly bit and some blues in there. So this is the color Tricks. This has been in my stash along with this for at least 4 years now. I think both of these may have been from one of the mystery bags that I ordered for Mother's Day. This is the colorway Bubblegum. This one has been in my stash since 2020, I believe. Ruby and Lou yarns. This is gold sparkle base and the color is Staycation. I don't know why we're having so much blowout there. Then I have a 50-gram hank of this yarn from Zen Garden. I almost pulled its pair as well, but it was too close to the Southern Skeins one there. But this is Stunning Splatter Coordinates, Moon Purple and Red Maple. This is the Moon Purple one. The coordinate to that is this one. And on camera, it's reading very cherry, but it's a little bit, you can see how it's almost the exact same color as the Southern Skeins one there. Maybe, you know, if I'm not going to use the whole thing, maybe it would be better to... Do I like that? Or do I like that? I might play with that still. So anyway, those, and then this, I believe, is Arkansas Yarn Company. Yep. This was from the Sock Yarn Society. This is the project that I frogged last year, which still breaks my heart that that didn't work out. And this is Sunset on Summer on the Yummy Sparkle base. And this just has all the colors I was kind of going for. I pulled this one, then I pulled this one, then this one, then this one, and then this one. So this has the blue, blue, blue. Then we've got purple, purple, purple. We've got coral, 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 coral. And it's a very pinky, reddy coral. Now this one does have a little flash of like olive green, and this one has a tiny flash of like spring green in it. And this one has a little bit of orange right here, like more of like a mazy, kind of almost pumpkin-y kind of tone and of orange in it, but it's very yellow based. And this has little flashes of yellow throughout it as well. This also has yellow in it. So I thought that was a really good base combination. I may actually like these better together overall without the other one there. If I had a whole 100 grams of this one, I wouldn't be concerned, because I really am in love with this, but I like this too. You know, I could just do that as well. Maybe that's what I'll do. See, this is why I come and talk to you guys. Having you guys to like bounce this off of is very helpful. And then that gives me 2 sparkles and 2 plains if I do that. Let's do that. We can save this set to go together later, at a later time. But that's how, this is how I work. This is part of my process. When I don't come up here and pick a yarn first, this is kind of what I end up doing. You know, I've talked about, you know, like I found a pattern and bought this yarn specifically for that pattern. I'm hunting for the right pattern for this combination, but you know, my brain works in spurts, and it works kind of in an oddly linear path. But anyway, I am going to go work on getting things caked up. I will see y'all shortly. All right, so I guess this process is kind of turning into like a mini vlog here, but I wanted to let you know, after I caked up the JoJo Melody yarn, it was not going to work for this Pink Panther scarf. And I showed you the picture of where I was testing out this pink yarn up against my soft unicorn fluff yarn here. I went back to my stash. I actually have one of those cubes full of lace weight that I organized and put in there last year. And in there is a package of Knit Picks yarns that Troy bought for me probably in like 2010-ish, maybe 2012. And one of those was this Knit Picks Shadow in Pink Posy. This is 100% Merino. Of course, this doesn't want to. There we go. 400 yards, 50 grams. It's a heathered lace weight. So you can see here, you know, it is a lace weight. It is slightly fuzzy, but worked up, we are getting this amazing sherbety unicorn fluff coloring. The JoJo Land Melody, though, you couldn't tell in the ball or in the swatch from when I bought it that it is a 2-ply that barber poles through huge sections of it. And I thought that was going to be too many colors overlaying the variegated yarn. So the variegation in this is very simple, but I didn't want to lose that in this yarn. And this pink is just perfectly offsetting the yellow and the green and really making those feel almost hyper bright up against the pink here. And you've got a soft movement where you have the orange and the pink in the variegated yarn. So anyway, I've been working on this for a couple hours this morning, and that's where I am. But I did want to pop in and let you know I did switch the carry along, although I kept the original yarn that I pulled for this project. All right, so I have a mixed feeling on how I feel about having filmed that, and in the fact that I'm going to go ahead and share that with you in a video, because it's kind of, it's a little weird. I'm not going to lie. It's just a skosh peculiar. It works though. And this is the thing. I always try to be very transparent with you guys. And I know a lot of times when I'm talking about things, I seem very ambiguous and kind of like, do what feels right to you, man. What feels good in the moment. But that's truly how my brain works. Like moment to moment, I don't know how I'm going to be planning things. So very frequently, I actually am more of a come up here, find a yarn, take it downstairs, find a project that fits it. That's how I found the comfort cloak. I knew I had X amount of yards of that Peyton's Misty. I took it downstairs with me knowing that I was going to cast on something with this, even if it was just, you know, a circle shawl. I was going to make something out of this. So I took it downstairs with me. I calculated the yardage that I had. I put it into Ravelry. The comfort cloak was one of the patterns that popped up, and bada bing, bada boom. I'm loving working on it. It's kind of the perfect project for that yarn. And I'm thinking about making another one in my hot pink yarn down here. So that could be coming soon. I think I might donate the green one I'm working on and then keep the hot pink one. Maybe. We'll just see. We'll see. We'll be patient with myself and determine that. But frequently that's how I do a lot of things. But this does happen where I'm scrolling on Ravelry, or I get a notification for something, or I'm like, hey, I wonder if there's something that like meets these parameters, and I'll program that into Ravelry, and all of a sudden I have this, item pop up. So I can't remember what kicked off all this, but I did look up. I know what it was. I was trying to find multi-skein projects, not held double, but things that would have multiple colors worked into them. And I was trying to get an idea actually for some of the minis I have. So I have a ton of scrap 20-gram minis, and then I also have the minis that are on the back of my door into the room here that I've shown you guys before. And I was actually looking for a minis project. Plus I have the Advent of Doom up here. So I came across the two patterns I did. The Pink Panther one is the one that I cast on first. I did bring that up here to share with you guys, just kind of this is what I've done. I'm filming this Tuesday. So I started this Sunday morning. I didn't sleep well Saturday, so I think I actually cast on at like 1 o'clock Sunday morning because I was too tired to work on my dewdrop shawl. It involves way too much thinking because it's an active lace pattern. So I cast this on. This is where we are. We're like 2/3 of the way through the first side, I believe, ish. The fabric is turning out stunning. So I am actually calling this my unicorn fluff scarf. I will definitely 100% be keeping this for myself. This is number one. The yarn is kind of special to me, but number two, I'm just in love with how this fabric is turning out. I know in the clip of me working on the shawl scarf thing here, I know I said, I had to switch the yarn. So I kind of wanted to talk about that too. I know a lot of times we get locked in our brains into, I've decided to make this project in X yarn or X and Y yarn. But for some reason it's not working out. And we tend to want to kind of shoehorn things into the process. As we grow and develop as knitters and crocheters, sometimes we kind of drop that as a habit. Other times we tend to dig in even further and even harder, and we make it more difficult on ourselves to make changes once we've made a decision. And it's something I'm practicing. I am working on getting better at not digging in and just saying, this is the way we're going to do. Once I make that decision, this is finite. So as I was caking up the JoJo Land Melody yarn, the outside all looked like it was going to be like a long swath of purple, a long swath of yellow, a long swash of blue. But as I went through it, it is actually a 2-ply and it marls in different areas. And I was really afraid that the marling would take away from the beautiful sherbet color of this yarn, because we have this like beautiful variegation with the green and the yellow and the pink and the bluish purple tone in there. And I didn't want to detract from that. I was hoping that we would have like purple where we'd see huge pops of the pink and the yellow, and then we'd have like the yellow come up and we'd see big pops of the pink and the purple, and then like the pink would come up and it would really make the green pop. That's what I was hoping we'd have with the JoJo Land. And when I realized it was marled, I realized that was really going to muddy the two together. So I went into my thread box and found this bag of yarn that's a bunch of thread weight, 0 weight yarns, lace or thread weight, that Troy had gotten me is a sampler pack from Knit Picks in 2010. We figured out it must be 2010 or 2011 when that was purchased as a Christmas gift. So that's been in here for a long time. Once again, this ended up being a deep stash project. I didn't mean for it to be. This was in fact part of the Six Kingdoms Club, which was a club that Eat Sleep Knit had in 2010. So this yarn is from 2010 positively. And this yarn is from either 2010 or 2011 Knit Picks yarn. And this is Shadow, I believe. And I can't remember the color. But yeah, this ended up being a deep stash project. But I was looking up there. I had this caked up. And when I saw this immediately, I knew, because this has like that pink, almost purpley undertone to it. There's hidden blue under there. It doesn't look plummy at all by itself. It 100% looks pink, but in the picture I took, as I was like making sure this is what I wanted to do, I just took these and wrapped them around my hand a couple of times. So I had a couple of shots of the multicolor and the Eat Sleep Knit yarn and could really see them up against this pink. And this yarn, the pink in here is just this ever so soft baby pink, but it's like a true baby pink. It doesn't have any of that purpley bluish undertone to it. So what ended up happening when I mixed it with this is the yellow and the green in this almost resonated like pastel neon, or like the chalk paint on a black chalkboard. It really made that yellow and green sing, and that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to get this like illumination look with the pastel yarn. And in the final fabric for what we ended up doing, that's exactly, you know, what I got. But I had to be accepting of the fact the original yarn I pulled wasn't going to do what I wanted to do. I had it in my head what I wanted, and I stuck with my vision instead of my plan. And that's one of the things I think when we are, especially are trying to work from our stash, we tend to really lock ourselves in, whether it be to locking into the pattern, locking into the plan for the yarns we're going to use. We tend to lock in, and we're not willing to shift at all what we're going to do. Nothing about this is how I meant for it to be. I didn't set out to do a shawl and scarf pattern using stash yarn. I actually was looking for things that would help me use minis. And here I am. I've changed gears as to what I'm working on. I changed gears as to what I'm working with. And I'm allowing myself that flexibility of plan instead of locking in so firm that I either hate what I'm doing or I'm not happy with my final project. So I did want to kind of share this as a general talking point. Now, I know this is kind of like one of those, a huge part of my audience is going to be like, why are you bothering doing a video to talk about this? Why is this a thing? Why, you know, process, great. I love seeing other people's process, but like, why are we continuing to talk about this? Why isn't this like a short or just like an Instagram post? And it's because the other 50% of the people who come to my channel are struggling with the same things I am, where either you lock in and you can't make those changes, or you don't know how to come at things, or you see a pattern and you feel like you have to buy new yarn for it instead of just going to your stash first, or you've been in your stash and you can't find a pattern, like you don't know how to find a pattern. So I want to do regular check-ins like this as I'm going through the process of using my stash this year and being hyper intentional about what I'm using. I want to really walk you guys through how this process is going and how things are happening and unfolding. And part of that is, you know, the genuine transparency I want to have with you guys at all times. Like I said, like this isn't a normal size stash. This is beyond an oversized stash. I'm aware of this. You're aware of this. Anybody who comes by is probably like, ugh. it's beautiful. It's well maintained. I mean, I come in here and dust this regularly. That was the upside to having a big open wall like this is I can see everything. The downside is I have to clean everything. So I do come in and I dust everything on the bookshelves, and here I wrap my vacuum cleaner with pantyhose and dust everything down. Things do, even though it doesn't look like it, things do regularly get taken off the wall and kind of poofed out a little bit. But this is overwhelming. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of possibilities in all of the best ways. And like I said, in 2025, between moving to Charlotte, moving back to Columbia, and then doing the big reorganization in 2025, I've had my hands on every single hank and skein in here in the last year, and everything as of a year ago, I still want to work with. So we're not to the point like I'm going to have another huge donation coming up. I do have a lot of plans we'll kind of work in over the year with the flatbed knitting machine. I do have some Addy projects I want to do. So we will have a lot of quick turnout projects that are kind of pre-planned, and we'll kind of talk about those and how I made choices for certain things. I do have the bins in there for the Addy projects still set up. But yeah, so I kind of want to do these regular check-ins as part of the stash down that's not necessarily addressing like, is there a visual change on the wall necessarily, but how is the process going? So I'm not sure how often these videos will come out. I'm not sure in what combination these will come out, how we'll talk about these things. Certain projects, there are going to be certain lessons learned, like be flexible, because the yarn I picked wasn't right. The patterns I found that I was interested in didn't work for what I was thinking. We've got to be flexible with ourselves. There might not always be a lesson. Sometimes it might be, holy cookies, I found a pattern that's going to use, 20 skeins of yarn. Help me pick what we need here. Who knows? Who knows how these are going to play out? I don't even know, like, kind of how I'm going to these together into a organized, cohesive playlist or something, but maybe it'll all just go into Stash Down 2026's playlist. But once again, come peek behind the curtain of the crazy. It's not always pretty over here. Originally, I hadn't planned on having makeup or hair dried or anything else for this video, but I had a doctor's appointment and 15 minutes to kill before I left, so I actually put makeup on. A lot of these might be, the pre-workout, post-workout look, but I want you guys to come with me on this journey. I want you guys to participate with me as we're doing this, and I'm hoping by sharing this, there might be something of educational value that will help you guys in your process. I know the being flexible thing is something that's come up for a lot of you guys because we've talked about it on separate platforms before. But anyway, I'm going to zip it, put it in my pocket, and we'll go downstairs. I'm actually going to work on this for a little while because I want to eat lunch, and while I finish my show, I can work on this. By the way, this Pink Panther pattern, I know we'll talk about this in a show and tell probably next week. In love with this pattern. Not just how my fabric's turning out, because my fabric is turning out majestic and beyond perfect, but I will leave a link. This is a free knitting pattern, but I am in love with the pattern itself. And this does not have to be Sport DK weight sized. This could very easily be used in a worsted, maybe a light bulky. I probably wouldn't try to do this in a super bulky, but you could easily shift this to be done with a chunkier weight yarn. And if you have more yarn than the 412 yards it calls for, you could easily make this into a larger, longer project than what this will end up being. This is one you could easily change to be what you wanted it to be. But especially from back here, you can see what I mean, where you have that backlit effect with the yellow and the green. I'm so excited. I am just beyond excited. But this pattern is so pretty. I highly recommend giving it a shot if you are interested in something that shape. So I love you guys. I hope you are having a wonderful, fantastic day. As always, I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. Please take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.